Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is louisliaw and I am a practicing lawyer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Today I want to talk about the restriction of movement order and how you may be breaking that order and how that may lead you to end up in jail. For those who live in Malaysia, you would know by now that on the 16th of March 2020, the Prime Minister of Malaysia announced a restriction of movement order that will apply throughout Malaysia and that will apply from the 18th of March until the 31st of March. The way that he can do this is through what is known as the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Act, PCIDA. The PCIDA empowers the minister to make regulations for the purposes of controlling and containing this infectious disease. By using this PCIDA, the minister has made two regulations that you should know. The first regulation is the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Declaration of Infected Local Areas Regulations 2020, and the second is the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Measures Within the Infected Local Areas Regulations 2020. The first regulation, what it basically did is two things. Number one, it declared that all the states and federal territories in Malaysia as infected local areas. Now the second thing is that it declared Covid-19 as an infectious disease. Now that you know that Covid-19 is an infectious disease and that all the states and federal territories in Malaysia are infected areas, then you need to look at the second regulation, which is the measures within the infected local areas, meaning what are the things that the government is doing to contain this infectious disease in these infected local areas. So in the second regulation, the government imposed these measures. Now firstly, you are not allowed to travel from one place to another place or stay at that other place unless you are for these purposes. Number one, to perform a official duty. Second thing is that you are only allowed to travel from one place or to another place, perform essential services such as the banks, the post office, so on and so forth. Thirdly, you are only allowed to travel from one place to another to purchase groceries and daily necessities. And fourthly, it is to seek medical or health services. So unless you are traveling or going to a place to do these four things, you are not allowed to be out of the house. Now, other than the restrictions on your movement, the regulation also provides that you are not allowed to have any form of gathering, whether it's for social, recreational, or sports. The only gathering that is allowed is for funeral, and even then the attendance should be kept at a minimum. Lastly, if you want to travel from one infected area to another infected area, meaning from one state to another state, you must get police permission. Another section that is in the regulation that you need to pay attention to is Section 6, which says that when you are asked by an authorized officer for information, you must provide that information. Okay, authorized officer is such as medical officer. So if a doctor asks you, where have you been, who have you had contact with, since when do you have these symptoms, you are legally obligated to provide that information. What is the penalty for failing to follow this order? For example, failing to not have gathering, continue to go out, or failing to provide information when you are asked. What is the punishment? The punishment as provided by the regulation is firstly a fine of up to maximum 1,000 ringgit or an imprisonment, meaning going to jail, of up to maximum 6 months or both. So in essence, this means what? This means no going out for jogging, no going to visit your neighbor, no going to offices to work, just stay at home. Otherwise, you're not only risking the lives of yourself and your loved ones, but also maybe breaking the law and may be sent to jail later. Now, other than what is required by the regulation and what is restricted by the regulation, there are some other things that you need to do also under the PCIDA. Firstly, if you are an adult of a family and you come to be aware that somebody is infected with the disease, infected with COVID-19, you are legally obligated to report that to a nearby clinic. Similarly, if you are a manager of a company and you come to be aware that one of your colleagues is infected with that disease, you are also legally obligated to report that to a nearby clinic. Now, secondly, if you know that you are infected with that disease or you have reasons to believe that you're infected with that disease, you are not allowed to do things that can potentially expose others to that disease. Meaning, if you know that you're already suffering from COVID-19, you not only need to go to the hospital immediately, you also cannot simply go to the market and then spread it to other people. It's an offense under the law. Thirdly, also, if you are requested by an authorized officer which also in that act includes police, to do something, let's say go back to your house, don't be gathering at the park, don't be gathering at the mamak shop, then you must comply. Failure to comply is also an offense under the Act. So that person who, when asked by the police to go back and stop jogging, refuses to do that is actually an offense under the law. Furthermore, similar to the regulation, it is provided under the Act that when you are asked to give information and you fail to do so, or you give false information, these are offenses under the Act. This means that the pregnant lady in Kedah that was asked whether she has been in contact with someone tested positive for COVID-19 and she said that she did not, she has actually committed an offense under the Act because she has given false information to the doctor. And as a result, the hospital actually has to be closed down for a few days to be disinfected. So just now I said that if you break those restrictions or those requirements under the regulation, you may be subjected to 6 months imprisonment or up to 1,000 ringgit fine or both. If you break some of the requirements under the Act, which what I said just now, like not reporting to the clinic or you lying to an authorized officer, you may be also subjected to punishment, and in fact that punishments that are more severe than what is provided under regulation. And the punishment is, for the first offense, you are looking at a punishment of imprisonment up to maximum 2 years or fine or both. And if you make a second offense, you are looking at imprisonment up to 5 years or fine or both. So, those who refuse to give information to the police, those who give false information to the doctors when you are asked, those who insist to go out, those who insist to go to work even though the restrictions say that you cannot, you are not only endangering yourself, your family members, but also you are breaking the law. Do you really want to not only risk your own health and the health of your loved ones, but also risk going to jail? So please lah, you may have your arguments, you have your knowledge, but put them aside and comply with the law for now. Not only this is to save you from probably going to jail, but also this will help everyone. This is a very critical time in our country. This is a very unusual time in our country. We have not faced this kind of situation before. So all that we can ask from you is to follow the instructions by the government, follow the advice by medical practitioners, and comply with what they are asking us to do. And that includes washing our hands frequently, that includes practicing social distancing, wearing masks whenever you're out, and don't go out of your house unless it is for these things that the government said that you can go out for. With that, thank you very much. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, please smash the like button so that the YouTube algorithm will share this to more people. And also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And lastly, please drop me a comment on what do you think. Do you think that the restriction of movement order will be extended? Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.